There are two topics happening in the world right now that are really creating great pain in my mind. So I'll describe them both, and then I'm going to share my daydream with you. I have a solution that you'll shoot out of the water the moment you hear it, and you'll pick holes in it, and you'll say it's impossible. But, why not think in a very big way, and why not daydream out loud? And maybe something can happen. So the first topic is the situation in India, where right now COVID-19 is absolutely out of control. It's spread into the rural areas, and the estimates for infections and deaths are tragically undercounted. Everyone knows that. And according to one article, the most pessimistic counts would be in the order of millions of deaths. So that's going on. And we know that the problems in India are so complex, and that most of India's population, 2/3 of the population, actually live in rural areas where there's very little infrastructure, if there's any. And in one article I read this week, people in the rural areas, they're very, very poor, and they're actually just used to death. It's just a fact of life. They have very little access to any kind of app or any device, anything that would connect them with even getting a vaccine, but there's no vaccines actually to get there yet. So it's a very problematic situation. One report says that the ratio of doctors, even just mostly there's allopathic doctors there, and there's one doctor to more than 10,000 people. This is 10 times less than what the World Health Organization recommends. One doctor to 10,000 people. So that's the one situation that is causing me pain. The other situation that is causing me pain is that there's a move right now to go ahead with the Olympics in Japan. And this is not a criticism of Japan. Japan, the poor country, they made the bid for the Olympics in 2013. That's almost a lifetime ago. They didn't know that in 2020 we'd be having a global pandemic. And then there's the whole thing that's pushing, most people in Japan, apparently, according to many reports, they actually don't want the Olympics to happen. They want it to be postponed until a time when the pandemic is under control. But politics and money are pushing this decision where people are going to, hopefully, the people who want it are going to make it happen. So doesn't that seem just insane that we've got a crisis on this planet that requires us to mobilize as a unit, and then we're going to have this other situation which costs billions of dollars involving just an elite group of people for a very short period of time, and we would have that go ahead and ignore this situation that is beyond anything we could imagine? This is what is blowing my mind. So here's my solution. And by the way, maybe you didn't know this. I didn't know this, but the cost of the Olympics is in the billions of dollars. The Sochi, Russia Olympics blew the record on what you could spend. According to one source, about $51 billion US. $51 billion. So the Japanese people have a budget right now that looks like about 15 billion. And every Olympic Games since 1960 has gone over budget by 172%. So now the estimate for the Japanese Summer Olympics is about $26 billion. So here's my solution. If I was queen of the planet for a day and everyone mobilized according to my thoughts, this is what I recommend as a solution. And I think it would work. I just need to get some people on my side. So we postponed the Olympics, and we've got about 11 or 12,000 people who are at the peak of their physical body performance right now. They're at their peak, and they've spent their whole life competing to be number one. And what are they competing for now? To get that gold medal that, isn't even actually made of gold. It's not. Because if it was made of gold, it'd be worth thousands, I think about $26,000 at least. So it's, it's something metal that's covered with gold. And so you get the gold medal. Do you remember who got the gold medal in high jump 5 years ago? And what about the person who came in fourth? And what about the people who tried to get in the Olympic team and they're separated by slivers of seconds? First and fourth, slivers of seconds. What about all those people that didn't make it on the team and they're at their physical peak and they've had training for years? Their families have given up their life to take the kid to the pool at 4 a.m. every day for 20 years? So there's so many people involved in getting one person to a peak level. And then you have this mind of competition. We all know what that's like. It's pure misery. So you have this mind, you have to be number one, you have to push everyone else out of the way. And really, are the Olympic Games really meeting the needs that it used to? I think maybe a long time ago it was about getting people together and sharing culture and developing friendship and getting understanding and respect. I wonder, is that happening now? Because when people go to the Olympics, what I imagine, I've never been, but I imagine that you're so busy preparing for your event. You're so focused, you have to eat the right thing, you have to sleep that amount of hours. You're focused on being number one. Can you take your eyes up and look around and see who the others are? Or you maybe see someone, that person looks faster than me. Oh man, I've got to really perform now. So I'm going to just cut to the chase here because this could go on for days, this talk. My idea is that we mobilize these people. We get all the armies in the world involved to make camps in India and South America. They know how to do that. And then instead of people going to war, which we really know how to do on this planet, we go together to solve this massive problem in India and in South America, because until that happens, until everyone's vaccinated, we're not done with this. This is an unprecedented situation that needs an unprecedented solution. So of course my idea probably sounds ridiculous, but let's just explore what could happen if it actually rolls out. Then you've got people not competing with each other, but working together. You've got military uniforms of all these countries working together, putting these camps in. We've got doctors and nurses without borders coming together and working together. You've got people actually looking at each other as a human being instead of, I'm going to beat you. Why not? And then we've got, instead of, it's too late for Japan. I'm really sorry they've spent all this money. And may it happen so that, we're not going to change this culture of the Olympics. It's been going for about 2,300 years. But how about all the competitors do their thing in a city, and then they're transported off to a country where they help. And then at the end of their life, or maybe they're interviewed 20 or 30 years from now, the reporters can ask them, what was the most meaningful thing you did in your life? Was it getting the gold medal, or was it going to India and you and your fellow athletes from around the world actually learned how to put a needle in someone's arm and you saved lives? What do you think the answer would be? And wouldn't it be a wonderful cure for this competitive mind that just brings misery? So that when you're 70 years old and you're looking at the Olympic Games on your couch, at this body that can't do what you did when you were 22, and you got fourth or fifth, or you didn't even get to go. And that mind of disappointment that maybe you take to the grave, and instead that's replaced with a mind where, hey, I used my physical body, I got it to a peak performance level, and I used it for virtue, and I made a difference in other lives. That's my daydream. I know it sounds crazy and, pathetically optimistic, but why not? I mean, we've got to do something. So, may Japan have what they need, and then may all those athletes go to India and South America. And in the meantime, for those of us who are not Olympic athletes, let's follow His Holiness's instructions and recite Tara's mantra, do our practice, have this goal of full awakening in our mind daily, and just be nice to people.